This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody.
What's up?
Thank you guys for tuning in to Off the Clock Shop Talk. We appreciate you. As promised last week or the week before, not sure. We're trying to get on here a lot more, trying to get back to our regular schedule. Like we had said before, George,
I'm not dying.
got a little sick. I got a little sick. I had some funerals. George had some stuff to do. We were been very busy, but we appreciate you guys for hanging in there, for staying tuned, listening, all that stuff. I'm excited about today, George.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited. One of my favorite guests is back.
Yeah.
I think one of yours, since it's
Definitely.
like the second most viewed video that we have. So without further ado, welcome back, Mark Davison.
Nice,
What's up,
nice. Well, I'm on the floor of the shop for the Off the Clock Shop Talk.
Yes,
so I'm on the
sir.
floor. Yep. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Good to
coming
see
out
you.
again. We
Thanks for
appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know, when you're here, you always make it a point to come on. We really appreciate it. I wanted to say that.
I landed at the airport. There was a little bit of rain. I left Portland, which it's the rainy season. There was no rain. It was
No
sunny.
rain.
So
So you went from rain to rain.
opposites attract, you know.
He said he went from no rain to rain, right?
At least it stopped raining. It rained hard for one day, and I think that's all
Yeah.
we've had in 9 months. So
Wow.
I think you're good.
Unbelievable.
It rains like 2 weeks out of the year here.
Although the past 2 years were very rainy here for the winter
I guess we needed it.
for us.
We needed it. We needed it.
We didn't save any of it.
I remember when I was a kid growing up here, there was a lot more rain than I hear about what you have now. But
Yeah.
as a kid growing up, I thought it rained quite a bit. Of course,
Really?
you move somewhere else and you find out that it's a whole different. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought the winters here tended to have a little bit more rain.
Yeah. As far as me, I literally growing up, I remember maybe 1 year. It's funny because it kind of sticks out in my memory. 1 year when I was like, gosh, I was probably 11 or 12, where it rained like all winter long, which doesn't really happen to us. And then, yeah, I mean, you just get used to California weather, and it's just dry kind of all the time. I mean, we live in a desert, technically.
Yeah.
That's
California
correct.
is a desert. So. But welcome back. Thank you for coming again. You know, I guess first question is, what has Mark Davison been up to?
You know, it's been pretty exciting times in the union. We've been doing a lot of good things. At my home joint council and in the Western region as a whole, one of the biggest items, there's a lot of things always going on, whether it's representation or day-to-day business bargaining contracts and everything. But one of the exciting things going on in the Western region is all of the joint councils being unified, 100%, all 5 joint councils in the Western region, to engage in collective organizing, coordinated organizing,
Awesome.
where we're not just organizing at a local level, but we're engaging other locals. So if we have a campaign at one company, instead of hitting them at one location, we've got at least one campaign going on where we're hitting them at 5 locations. And so coordinated organizing, that's a big deal. It's a big deal to the general president to get engaged with coordinated organizing. I went to your Joint Council 42 meeting.
Yes.
Your president of your Joint Council 42, Chris Griswold, they laid out the IBT partnership at your Joint Council meeting. We have an IBT partnership at Joint Council 37. All of the joint councils are moving in the same direction with organizing. So it's a lot of activity going on with organizing.
Awesome. And I mean, at the end of the day, that is what a union is supposed to do, right? I mean, we're collectively fighting against corporate America, fighting for, to better people's lives. I mean, that's what we're doing. So,
Right.
With this joint partnership with the IBT, kind of with this organizing thing, I mean, we're really solidifying or, just coming together to, I guess, attack what's going on, because there's always a pull the other way, right? Corporate America is always kind of pulling us in the other direction away from unionization. You see it within companies that we try to organize. Amazon spends millions and millions of dollars on union busters to try to keep us out of there. And, we're fighting the good fight,
Right.
as they say.
Yeah, no, and it's so we've been doing in my home joint council. We've been interviewing the organizers. Excuse me. We have the IBT organizing department. the director of the Western region, the national director, assisting us with hiring these new organizers. We're getting Teamsters from the craft, rank and file Teamsters, to come in, get them trained because they're going to be the best ambassadors for the union. I've got 3 folks that are going to be starting on February 10th. I got 2 organizers plus a lead that'll be starting in Portland, covering Joint Council 37, and the IBT is putting in significant resources to back us up. That never happened before, where a joint council, especially as an entire entity in terms of the Western region, could get that kind of support from the international. So we're taking full advantage of it to get these people on the street. We got a lot of opportunities in Teamster core industries, outside our core industries, whether it be, the new I don't know what the word would be, the new organizing on the block, the cannabis industry, which is big in Oregon, big in Washington, big in California. They did a labor peace measure in Oregon, passed by the voters, where all of these dispensaries, the processors of the cannabis, the laboratories where they're testing all of these things that are being made, whether it be the gummies and all that other stuff. Yeah. And they have a lot of employees. And there's, I believe, there's over 2,000 licenses in the state of Oregon. Wow. So these folks, under the new law, have to sign a labor peace agreement with the union. And we're right now in the process of, we're signing labor peace agreements with laboratories where they may have 30, 40, or 50 employees in these labs, testing all these products before they go to the consumer. So there's that, and then there's the traditional industries that we've got to go after, whether it be grocery, because there's always something new popping up, whether it be soft drink, beverage, beer, all types of industries. And
a lot of breweries out there.
A lot of breweries, and we're excited about this partnership. And so that's been, I've got a lot of things I'm focused on just by the nature of the beast, but this is a big one. We've got to make this successful. We've got to really improve upon what we're doing. When I say improve, we're already doing, I believe, the Teamsters have always been one of the best union for organizing.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of public sector, but then we also have the private sector's been the majority of the union. And there's a lot of companies that have just been left to not be organized for a lot of reasons, whether it's they're trying to match the union employers in town to keep us from organizing, or just a lack of focus for some. But in the Western region, people were 100% unified around the Vision 2024 and Beyond program to get out and organize. And again, like I said, full support of the General President, full support of the General Secretary Treasurer, the entire GEB. Let's get out and organize. Let's, and not shine, as I say, and I've said this to the delegates in my area, with these organizers that we're hiring in this program we're putting into place, they're not going to be shining a seat with their ass. They're going to be out in the field organizing workers.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
So is this something that's going on around the country? Is this...
Every area in the Teamsters, we've been going to I go to all of the meetings at the General Executive Board, all of the various calls, all the various regional meetings. Sean has these regional meetings that we've been participating in. We had a Western region meeting. Everything's been focused. It's a huge part of the union, obviously. Because, you have company. Well, one, we need to expand just to bring more workers and organize to help the workers, obviously, because that's what it's all about, the workers, right? Yep. But we have companies that close. We have companies that, for a variety of reasons. Most of the time, it's generational wealth where, the 5th generation inherits a company and they say, I don't want to be involved in the trucking business or the warehousing business or whatever. I'm going to get out of it, and I'm just going to manage the real estate that my family's accumulated over 120 years. So we have to organize for all of that, because we do have to have a lot of resources in order to have this vibrant, strong organization with awesome pensions, awesome health care, everything that we do as Teamsters for our members. And it's strength in numbers. You got to have the numbers. And there's no lack of need, because I don't care what anybody says with all this BS where people try to say, well, the unions were good back in the day when they put the 12-year-olds in the mines. That doesn't happen anymore. Huh?
So they're trying to put them back
there.
Yeah, trying to put them back. Well, they got the 21-year-olds in the mines, okay? So there's no shortage of help that the workers need. Yeah. Companies are taking advantage of workers. And it was a big issue in this last election, which, I'm not going to get into the last election really, but people feel the pinch. Workers feel the pinch. Workers, these people, the activity we've had since I've been a union official for 25 years, I've never seen the level of activity. And I've never seen the level of activity where you're trying to organize a new shop. And we've got several campaigns going on right now in Portland. And the employees don't care about marching on the boss. When I became a business agent, oh my gosh, people were afraid to go march on the boss to demand recognition for the union. Yeah. Now they march on the boss. Somebody's filming it, like in the Amazon video.
Yeah.
And they're demanding of the employer right on the spot of the boss for the union to be recognized, for their working conditions to be improved. And the boss doesn't do anything to him. He runs off, or he or she they take off. They're afraid. So people have really got some guts. They're not afraid to stand up. And I'm not surprised, because when you're at the bottom of the economic ladder in terms of your wages, and you're making poverty wages, and you're working for a multi-gazillion dollar company, what do you have to lose?
There's no other way to go. But
Yeah, and I used to spend a lot of time organizing with folks, and I go to the meetings, and I've gone a bunch of the recent meetings with people, and their whole issue at the meeting was fear of the employer. I go to the meetings now, it's like one person asks about fear of the employer. The other 50 are like, they're not afraid.
They're ready to rock and roll.
So we've got an environment, and I think it's going to be going on for a lot of years. This is something that, unless you fix, and rebuild the middle class with unionization like it was built originally from, and rebuild it again from unions, union power, strength in numbers, it's going to keep coming for a while. So.
And I mean, for those of you guys out there, in YouTube and Spotify world that don't understand or know what Mark's talking about, Marches on the Boss, 952 has some videos out there of marching on the boss. We've actually organized a couple groups recently. I think 3 liquor groups now. We've been involved in the Amazon, the one you referred to, the video of the Amazon March on the Boss. So check that out on YouTube. We definitely, it's a cool thing to watch. I mean, these are workers that, like you said, I mean, in past, maybe for fear of the employer or for whatever reason, these things didn't happen, but they seem to be happening more and more frequently now. And it's crazy.
Yeah. The fear factor has left for most workers. They're not afraid. I mean, it's just amazing to me how they'll, right in front of the boss, they're getting pictures of their seniority list, even though they may not call it a seniority list, the worker list in their work group. And the boss is like, "Oh, what's that for?" "Well, we're kind of talking about the union." And there's like, "Well, and they don't freak out. I mean, I've got some examples recently where the boss finds out what they're doing, and they're like, "Oh, okay. If that's what you guys want, okay, fine."
That's interesting.
But of course, the corporate office, the C-suite, as they like to call it, may feel differently.
Yeah.
But a lot of lower level management and supervisory folks now, a lot of them aren't too worried about, they're not taking it as serious as they would in the old days. Sabas is forming a union. We better do something about it,
Well, I will say that.
Where is he, by the way? He's not on the couch here. I'm sitting next to him.
He's off camera.
He's off camera.
He's off camera doing
Fuck
technical
him.
stuff.
Fuck
We love
Salas.
him.
Next time I'll have the mic there. I have another mic specifically for that one.
Nice.
But I mean, kind of.
You're good.
Back to what we were talking about, and I don't know that this is the case. You referred to, maybe like the lower level, middle level management, whatever, that kind of is like, not so worried or whatever. But at least in industries that I've seen, one main one being UPS. Yeah. I've seen a lot of the I don't even know what you would want to call it. A lot of the issues that union members deal with are now starting to affect lower level management, where they treat these people like shit. So I don't really think they have much loyalty to the company in a lot of cases, at least from I know that's anecdotal, right? It's just from my point of view, but I see a lot of that where lower level management now, UPS doesn't have a pension anymore, doesn't get a lot of the benefits that they used to medical for them is through the roof. And I'm not saying that that's 100% correct. Just something that I've kind of seen with my own eyes.
Yeah, brand loyalty. When you get rid of a lot of the legacy benefits or legacy structure that a lot of these companies have had that applied to everybody, and you take it away from one group, especially if it's management, and then the hourlies keep it, that really has to have a dramatic effect on the morale of the workforce. And so, yep.
It's an interesting aspect of the whole thing, you know. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that companies, I think, everywhere are looking to cut and to trim fat, as they like to call it, you know.
Right.
But it affects, like you said, it affects morale. I don't know too many companies anymore that that actually go by the saying, you know, happy workers, you know, better product anymore. It just doesn't exist. I mean, I think
it doesn't
that
exist
they're just
anymore. It's all about numbers.
cracking the whip, and
It's all,
you know,
all about numbers now and stats. So.
it's interesting. Yeah. But shout out to Sean. You know, Sean O'Brien, for those of you guys who don't know who I'm referring to, for kind of heading and pushing us in that direction of organizing and getting people together. And I think that's huge. It's huge for our union.
You know, everybody, I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care what you do in life. Everybody needs somebody to a certain extent, some less than others. You know what? It is a song. Needs somebody to set expectations, to set goals. Not everybody, but most people. And people need it from varying degrees to have that leadership that sets the bar, so to speak, for everybody. And, you know, sometimes you may go, whoa, that's a pretty large bar, you know, to attain. But will you get there halfway? Will you get there 3/4 of the way? Well, guess what? It's going to be better than where you were at zero when you weren't doing anything or you weren't addressing a certain subject, and you get there. So, you know, it's really good when people set the tone for the organization. Sean's doing that. Fred's doing that. And asking people for, you know, their ideas and generating a lot of different thoughts. Sometimes you get people, you know, they come up with some off-the-wall things, but after a while you start thinking about it, well, you know what, there's probably something to that, you know. My friend Daryl Hardenbrook in Local 483 in Boise.
Shout out to Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. He is famous for coming up with some, he calls it spitballing.
Yeah.
He can spitball. He can spitball, and he comes up with some creative ideas, and sometimes you say, well, I think I just got Daryl'd. And, of course, it's a joke because Daryl he wants to grow the organization and fight. He loves to. He's a fighter. Yeah. The T-shirts in his local say the Fighting 483.
Oh, that's cool.
But he, you know, you have to have that engagement. I haven't seen that level of engagement in the union in my entire 25 years until this last 2 years especially. I mean, we've in my home local, we've always had engagement and done our business, but sometimes you really need a lightning rod, somebody who really wakes you up and really gets you going, and we're fortunate to have that. And it's actually contagious.
It is.
It's contagious because now, you know, people are saying, well, you know what, we all need to unify and do this, and we've got this great idea, started out of New England, and about the vision and coordinating, and we've always talked about a lot of that type of stuff. But as we all know, after you've put in a 12 or 14-hour day just taking care of the basics like processing grievances, bargaining a contract, and a lot of things, it can be hard to say, okay, now I got to go out and get people engaged in government affairs because we've got an autonomous bill and we need to get people to go testify on the bill, or just a host of everything that comes up in the middle of a extra, I call it, hey, extra work, like George for a package car driver. You know, all of a sudden they got some extra work, right? And it's extra work, but it's necessary. So,
I mean, we've always talked about that. I mean, being Teamster it's a lifestyle. It's not really a job.
Right.
I mean, and when those kind of things come up, it's you separate the men from the boys, as they say. You know, there's definitely people that want, this is for them. You know what I mean? They caught the union bug as also, you know, people like to reference.
Yeah.
You know, they just this is their life. This is their
Sabas
lifestyle.
has one, but he's not here on the couch. He's got the
I don't know
the
where he is.
union being. Union being.
Union being.
The union being.
The union being. Yeah.
It's a phrase coined by Mark, said by Sawas.
How did
think
that
Sabas-
happen? Did I
Sabas
just
was
say
supposed-
something?
he was
Was I
supposed to make
misspeaking or
shirts.
something?
You're supposed to make shirts that guy.
We were talking, and then I think you kind of fumbled your words, and you said union being instead of human being.
I never fumbled my
accident?
words. If I did it, that was intentional.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But it was good. We say it all the time. We're union beings.
Nice. We are. That we are.
So, I mean, one of the things you were talking about was the IBT and the amount of involvement. I will say that, the IBT, just the amount of membership involvement that you see, not just officers and not just, stewards, but the engagement with the members. Sean is on a plane every time I see him, he's in and he's out because he's got to go to the next place to go be on a strike line, to go, walk the yard, to go. And it's just the amount of membership engagement has been insane for me. The guy's always working.
He's always working.
As it should be.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
As it should be.
I wonder what his status is at the lounge.
His points are through the roof.
Like I said, you got to set the bar high and lead by example, and and he's certainly doing that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what else is going on in Mark's world? I know we talked last time about Bigfoot Brewery, right?
Bigfoot Beverages.
Bigfoot Beverages. So we talked last time about that. You want to give us an update? What's been going on with that?
It's Bigfoot Beverages is a Pepsi and beer distributor in Southern Oregon and the coast. About 240 Teamsters. They've been in business about approximately 70 years. They've been covered by a Teamster labor agreement. Profitable company, successful company. Have not had a lot of serious issues in their history. Management would be the first to say that when they've been, talked about in the media and everything else. Acknowledge that they haven't had any serious issues with the Teamsters and with their organized labor force. And the union went into bargain a contract in the summer of 2024. The ultimately ended up on strike in September. They've been on strike now for over 4 months. 240 drivers, warehouse, sales, merchandising employees. And the companies insisted on getting out of the Teamsters pension, the Western Conference of Teamsters pension.
Really?
And as we all know, that's the crown jewel of being a Teamster, is a defined benefit pension plan. I mean, if you can get to that status, because we all know, in comparison to a 401k, a pension is a benefit that continues. There is no comparison.
Yeah.
Should you have a 401k? Yes. Should you have an IRA? Yes. Should you make sure that you're maximizing all of that? Yes, because you can never have enough when it comes to retire, because costs are going to go up, property taxes are going to go up, everything's going to go up in your life, especially if you want to actually retire and not work, not be somebody who's working until they're 90, unless that's what you want to do, and that's fine. I mean, there's people that work that because they want to. That's
I hear
fine.
about
That's
that
great.
all the time. Yeah.
But not out of necessity. And a lot of people are doing that out of necessity because they don't have a defined benefit pension. So they intentionally maintained getting out of the pension, in our view, to break the union. And why? Because they knew that all 5 joint councils in the Western region passed a resolution a number of years ago, and it was reaffirmed recently, that we do not bargain out of the Western Conference of Teamsters pension plan. As we all know, it's fully funded, provides an awesome benefit, serious benefit, not only for when you're alive, but if something were to happen to you while you're working and you've got your time in, a spousal survivor benefit, a child survivor benefit, or when I say a spousal survivor benefit, I mean your actual, the spousal coverage, lump sum life insurance. It's got a whole bunch of benefits, as we know. It's the hallmark of being a Teamster. They knew, and in our opinion, they intentionally put the Teamsters on the street, these workers on the street.
Wow.
We believe it's union busting. We believe they did it because they knew we wouldn't agree to get out of the pension, and they knew that was a way to try to end the relationship with the Teamsters union. Why? The jury's still out on that. The truth always comes out at some point. But these members right now remain on strike.
Wow.
They're being supported fully by the general president with the enhanced strike benefit. They are ambulatory picketing. They're hitting the locations. There's a location in Eugene, Oregon, Springfield, Oregon, which is Eugene, Springfield area. There's a vending machine operation in Springfield, the regular distribution in Eugene. Also in Newport, Oregon, which is on the coast. We have our own Newport. I know you got Newport Beach in Southern California, but we got Newport in Oregon. And it's interesting. When you're in downtown Newport, there's on the highway a sign that says Boston, and it has how many miles to Boston. Really? Yeah, 20-some hundred miles or whatever, 2,500 miles.
Side of the coast.
That's
yeah,
so weird.
on the highway, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Sean went to the town and marched in the Newport Labor Day parade.
That would be
It could have been Sean.
2,600 miles that way.
Yeah. Sean, maybe he marched in their Labor Day parade and they put a sign up because they know he's from Boston.
That's funny.
So also in Roseburg, Oregon, this strike has been going on, like I said, for 4 months. It's union busting because they know we wouldn't accept it. Yeah. They've been hiring employees. They're intent on breaking the union. The employees are intent on fighting back, and we're going to continue to fight back for as long as it's going to take. It's a tough situation because you have people fighting for a pension, and most of these people are young people. So it's tough, but at the same time, they're fighting for something that a lot of times young people don't really recognize as being a big benefit, a pension.
Yeah, definitely.
And so these people are fighting back. And I think also at the core, they all know also that the company's trying to break the union. And it's not something that we can accept. We don't bargain out of the Western Conference of Teamsters pension plan. Yeah. We're not going to harm our members that are already collecting benefits. We're not going to harm our members who are already vested in those benefits. We're not going to harm our members who are in the process of getting vested there. It's just not going to happen. And that's what it's all about is this the strike. And it's scary in the sense that you have an employer that's put in a lot of resources, and it's over 4 months. Wow. And people, and I think one of the things is that we're not afraid to strike when we have to protect our rights and protect what we've battled for all these years, right? But it's scary in the sense of, who else wants to do this? We don't want this. I know you just said you had the flu and you were sick, right? It's contagious, right? Yeah. We don't want it to be contagious that we're getting out of the pension plan or that employers can take us out. So we are going to pound this company for as long as we can because we can't let that flu spread to get out of the pension. And I met with the Joint Council 42 delegates when I was down here in California. Folks were really supportive of us. I know that the local 324 is the local. They're in Salem, the state capital, Salem, Oregon, where they put out a call to arms to help pay members COBRA benefits when their insurance ran out. Wow. Those types of things. And they're getting a lot of support from your Joint Council, our Joint Council, other Joint Councils throughout. And, of course, they're getting the support from the IBT. So it's really ugly. I mean, it's really ugly to see 4 months. And the moral of the story is lots of times our members, when they're voting at a meeting over whether or not to take action, when we met with these folks, we told them this could be a long battle, and they were willing to do it. We warned them in advance. We didn't, there was no. I mean, we tell our members exactly what's going on, and but it's strikes are not something to be taken lightly. We're not afraid to strike. There's been more strikes. I don't know the statistics, but it seems in my lifetime as a union official, there's never been more strikes in the last 25 years since I've been full time at the union hall. Yeah, there's never been a time in the last 25, at least the last 25 years, where the level of strikes that are going on.
Definitely a fever.
There definitely has been like an uprise of strikes for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know if hopefully I explained myself a little bit on that one. It's a tough one.
Well, I mean, like you said, an injury to one is an injury to all.
Right.
Really, that we're all fighting because we don't want that cancer to spread. You know what I mean? We want to show employers that, look, we're not messing around.
Right.
This is 100% a strike issue for us, and if you want to run your business in the ground trying to defeat the Teamsters, I guess then that's what you're going to try to do. But there comes a point, I think, for everybody when serious. It's serious for us, and hopefully the company understands that it's a serious one for them too.
Yeah, and like I said, we're incredulous about it because they were successful and they had no problems with the Teamsters. It's not like they had endless arbitrations or, constant disruption of their operation. They consider themselves to be a pillar in the community, and we've received a lot of support from a lot of our, you name it, we've been doing it. Whether it's the boycott campaign, because this is an independent franchise. This is not actually a PepsiCo location.
Okay.
So this is Bigfoot Beverage, owned by a privately owned, and that's part of their portfolio. But they're not a PepsiCo company.
So they're not under the umbrella, the Pepsi
They're
umbrella.
not under the umbrella of PepsiCo. But in the community, they've really tried to tout themselves. Like, we've had a lot of issues. Our governor's been late to help us. We allegedly come, when I say allegedly come from a progressive state. And a lot of people think, well, Oregon's a big liberal state. It's solid blue. It's not as liberal as people think. And our Democratic governor, it took her 4 months to come out and give us any kind of love or support for this strike. Over 4 months.
Wow.
The nurses went on strike in Portland at Providence Hospitals, and I believe they're still on strike right now. She came out day one. Where's the love for these Teamsters? Now, our U.S. senators, Congress, our congressional delegation, including Lori Chavez-DeRemer, who's the nominee for Labor Secretary, the United States Labor Secretary. She's a Republican from the Happy Valley area, southeast. It's southeast of Portland.
Okay.
And also covers Bend, Oregon. She came out in support of us and actually contacted the owners of Bigfoot Beverage. Again, it hasn't had an impact. We're still on strike for 4 months. But we couldn't get any love from our governor, from the leader of our state. And the University of Oregon, where the Oregon Ducks play, it is despicable. It's friggin' despicable. They're serving struck goods at the Oregon Duck games.
Wow, really?
In a state that's supposed to be progressive. So in a progressive state, the Oregon State Beavers, you know who the Ducks are, right?
Yeah.
You know who the Ducks are, George? It's not just an animal that flies around and lands in the water, but
No, I don't know.
or not an animal, a bird.
University of
Sorry.
Oregon, the Ducks. You got the Oregon State Beavers.
I mean, this is the Ducks have. I mean, it's just shameful that they're serving struck goods. They had they were leafleting the football games. We've all kinds of things that have been going on. There's been
Come on, green and yellow, get it together.
community groups out there helping us. It's been tough, but here we are in this state because a lot of people are like, well, geez, aren't you like in a really pro-union state? And I'm like, not really what you would think. It's very odd. It's a different dynamic. So,
We have some of that going on here in California. Our
Yeah.
governor doesn't help us very much.
like you had the issues with the
Agreed.
autonomous
Agreed.
bill,
Yeah.
the autonomous bill
Yeah.
and everything.
100%.
And you can't judge people on one issue, right?
Sure.
If in one singular issue. But when it's a core value that you say unions are part of your portfolio of and I say maybe it's not portfolio, but your army. They're part of your army to get you elected.
Yeah.
And we can't get any love? I mean,
Well,
it's downright shameful. So
Yeah.
I don't want to get into politics too much.
No, I'm not getting into
dabble a
politics.
little bit.
I just want to let you know.
I was just, I had a thought
Yeah.
prior to saying that. I don't want to get into politics too much, but I do agree with Sean, with what
Yeah.
Sean said. We support those who support us. And we're going to,
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, if just because, historically we're this way or that way or whatever,
Yeah.
we really need to put our power behind who is going to do the right thing for the working class of America.
Right.
And that's the truth.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I don't get into that type of stuff. I try to avoid it as much as possible because it divides workers when you start getting into a lot of things. And that's not really, like you said, it's not a political show. I just wanted to explain, here we are with this strike, 240 Teamsters, lives being destroyed. People, we got the IBT fully backing these folks with the enhanced strike benefit that never existed until Sean O'Brien came along and Fred Zuckerman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of the support they're getting, and you can't get support from a singular person who claims to be for the workers as part of their platform. Meanwhile, we've got everybody else around. And you know why it is? It's because, in my opinion, there is a tendency, regardless of political views, yeah, but it's raised the dialogue out there. I mean, he has taken this, or what is taking place by the stance that we took. It is totally raised the public discourse.
I agree.
I mean, look at the practice picketing. Just that has nothing to do with that, but Sean's deal with practice picketing. Now everybody's doing practice picketing.
Yep.
I mean, the UAW was doing practice picketing, right? Great. They let them steal our ideas, right? That's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, he set something in motion that, obviously other people are picking up on, and that's sending a message to the companies, like that's a big deal.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was another company in Portland last week, and it escapes me the name of it. They put the call to action out, and they were going to do practice picketing, and I can't remember the name of the company. But it's going on. I mean, it's that idea, that notion of getting people ready and sending a message of, hey, look, we're ready, we're strike ready, we're not afraid, is spreading. And Sean started that. I mean, there's all these things that are going on. I mean, he now has a podcast to raise the issues of workers. Senator Josh Hawley was on his podcast, Better Bad Ideas, and I knew, because I've heard about Hawley's stance on issues that has been communicated out there, but he was full blown on Sean's podcast supporting workers and unions. He didn't hold anything back.
Yeah, Holly was good.
He wasn't using careful words. He was speaking about the American worker, and I'm like, wow, this is really, and as union workers, and how it was pretty powerful. You can. There's all these people out there spreading a message. You're doing it with Off the Clock Shop Talk, right? You're spreading a message to your members, and you're obviously it's contagious because, again, sorry, George, I know you had the flu, but it's contagious, these types of things. And you do these podcasts long enough over a period of time, more people start doing them. Yeah. And they just kind of build upon themselves, and people, and that's good. So,
and I will say, I mean, we weren't the first, but I love to see that Sean got into the podcast game. Super cool.
Right.
Maybe one day you can come on, Sean.
Off the Clock Shop Talk. Oh yeah.
Off the Clock Shop Talk.
I would
Local 952.
I would love to have him on, or go do his show. That'd be sweet.
That's right. We should be the guests on a future episode.
That would be pretty.
Well, you know what, George? We yeah, exactly.
Let me just invite myself.
Yeah. Okay, you got union leave of absence language in your contract. We can get you off because it'll be a union.
Oh yeah,
leave
I'll
thing.
just write an email. We're good.
You're a union being.
You're a
for union leave.
Union.
Yeah.
If we do go on this show, we have to have the shirts made.
Well, Mark, obviously we've been talking a little bit about the politics side, and even in the grander scheme of things,
Right.
that Sean likes to call white collar corporate criminals.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of led to this shirt I've seen Sean wearing around quite a bit. And I don't know. I think you have one of those shirts.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. We kind of talk about organizing, whether it's, internal organizing to strengthen the members we represent, external organizing, bringing more members into the union, right? Expanding workers' power, strengthen numbers, and doing all of that. And we talk about the Bigfoot strike. I mentioned the Bigfoot strike and talking about the workers coming together and not being able necessarily, right, to count on somebody like our governor, who wasn't there for 4 months to help us when we were calling out for assistance from anybody and everybody we can, because we're fighting for the most basic, and again, profitable company, successful company. breaking a union worker's pension. How despicable is that, right? And throughout this, throughout this process, and it's kind of interesting you mentioned that with Sean, and I'll just, take my flannel off here. But I had this T-shirt. Actually, it can be. I first saw Sean wearing this shirt, and then got a text message from the organization that's distributing these shirts, and went ahead and ordered one of these shirts.
Nice.
Yep. Teamsters versus everybody, and it was interesting.
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting.
You know what I love? Not too many companies do this, but they put some art on the sleeve. I love it when they put some art on the sleeve. So you got the Teamsters logo on the sleeve. That's
well,
great.
it's
Teamsters
interesting.
versus everybody.
That's
so
great.
when pictures of Sean first went on like Facebook and social media, Sean wearing this shirt, you, of course, anything you put on social media is going to have lovers and it's going to have haters.
For sure.
Right. And I really got, everybody wants to dissect anything and everything. And the simple person that says, that's an awesome shirt. I love the message of the Teamsters. We got to stick together. Just a simple notion of let's stick together. Solidarity, strength in numbers, Bigfoot strike, right? And then you get these people that are hating. And, oh, my gosh, they come up with a lot of really crazy, my opinion, crazy. Some of them are simple
really
ideas.
Off the wall.
Yeah. This is a message of inequality, discrimination. I'm like, come on. Well, I had to order
Context.
Exactly.
But they like to take a conversation and then dissect it, and then they create their own narrative with it instead of showing the information as a whole, because they're taking the context out to help themselves, and it's like I hate it when they dissect it that way.
It's
not,
as simple.
not that you would be putting words into Sean's mouth, but I mean, what is your perception of what the shirt means?
I didn't talk to Sean at all about the shirt, other than I have some, and I ordered some for some of my fellow Teamsters just because I love the message and it was great. Is unity, Teamsters sticking together. Simple. It's another way of saying Teamster solidarity, Teamster powers, Teamster strength in numbers, just like we've had on our shirts before, fighting for the future. Okay, but the message is relevant in so many ways, and be a Teamster. Join the Teamsters. It's a message about organizing. Be part of us. Be part of the dialogue about the pro-worker message. Yeah, and it's don't take it crazily seriously or dissect it for the negative. Look at the positive. Yeah. There's too much negativity out there, and so. I've got my Teamsters versus everybody shirt, and like I said, the first person I saw wearing it was the general president, Sean O'Brien, and I'm going to keep on wearing it myself.
Teamsters versus everybody for working families out there.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can't, sometimes you have to put some messaging out there a little different than you have in the past. People are always looking for something different, unique. You could say Teamster solidarity. Okay, solidarity forever from over 100 years ago, the song, right? Yeah. Great. Okay. But be more relevant. We're being more relevant to younger people. Being more relevant, not just to younger people, but just people in general who may not have thought about workers and go, what's that all about? It catches your attention, actually.
Very much so.
I've worn this into the grocery store at it's called Fred Meyer in Oregon, but it's Kroger's, which is it's where the Strawberry Boys, back with James R. Hoffa organizing the warehouse back in Detroit, right? Mm-hmm. And Kroger's, got several 100,000 union members at its company throughout the country, grocery stores, warehouses, and everything. And I wear this into the Fred Meyer, and the folks down there that are longtime union members are like, wow, we need a shirt like that. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that exudes strength. People don't want to exude weakness; they want to exude strength. Everybody wants to be strong, right?
Yeah.
Come on,
yeah,
let's
of course.
Go. So anyway,
well, we've talked a little bit about business. We're running short on some time. Obviously, we could talk to you all day, Mark. Yeah. But we talked a little bit about business. Let's get into the personal side of Mark. And I thought maybe you could help us out with some a new song recommendation. You sang some Madonna for us last time. Had you seen some Beastie Boys? What are you listening to lately, Mark?
I'll tell you what I've been listening to lately. It's funny.
I create a whole new segment called Mark's Playlist.
Yeah. this.
Yeah.
Flock of Seagulls was on there.
Can
Remember?
I? It's okay. I check my cell phone.
Of course.
Okay, on the show. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I've been listening to. So there is Billie Eilish. I love listening to Billie Eilish.
I thought you were saying Billy Idol at
No,
first.
Billie Eilish.
Is there any
Billie Eilish,
song
huh?
in particular of hers that you like?
You know, well, there's the one that they're playing all over the radio right now, like nonstop. If you listen to the radio, just normal top 40 is "Birds of a Feather." That's from her
I do like
latest
that
album.
song.
Yeah, that's a great.
I like that song because it reminds me of like an '80s track.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd have to sing it, George.
There's the movie. There's the song from the Barbie movie. What was
Yeah.
I made from?
Yeah.
That or what was I made,
it made
for?
for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's an interesting
It's
one.
interesting.
I like. There's another one called "Happier Than Ever." It's from one of her albums. "Therefore I Am." I mean, just a lot of good music, and there's nothing negative about her music. It's just all kind of positive. Now, that's the softer side of Mark. That's the modern.
Oh, we're gonna get the other.
That's
side
the
of Mark?
modern, softer side of Mark.
Okay.
Now, I'm
Is it
always
about to get
listening. I'm always listening to the Dave Matthews Band.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always listening to the Dave Matthews Band.
Okay,
It's the old music with Dave Matthews never gets old. They just, as time's gone by, they reinvent their music as they mature. Their voice just changed a little bit. You know, their I don't know what you want to call it, how they put forth the music. Of course, I also listen to different folks that I'll hear from, like, I don't know if you ever heard of Big Mama Thornton.
No.
Yeah, so Big Mama Thornton is from it's old school. Like, she's got a version of Hound Dog from Elvis.
Really?
Yeah.
So what genre is she?
It's, I want to say, heavy blues.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Heavy blues, rock blues music from Big Mama Thornton. And she's old school. I mean, it's, music from 60, 70 years ago.
Okay.
She's pretty interesting. And so I listen to stuff like that. And then, of course, I always like to have a little rap in my music. And I listen to the Beastie Boys.
Of course.
And exactly. But the album that I have the original albums from my brother. I think I told you my brother was a DJ here in Orange County. His name was DJ Bazaar. That's what he would say on the microphone. Bazaar. DJ, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Bazaar. That's what he would do.
That's cool.
Bazaar.
And then drop the beat.
Drop the beat. Yeah. Grandmaster Flash.
Okay.
Grandmaster Flash is a really cool one. I've been listening to that as well. And then, so yeah. But
For our younger members, that's from the 80s. Grandmaster Flash. Check it out.
yeah,
Good
check
stuff.
it out. So I like that. Yeah. A little bit of rap. And then, of course, as when I mentioned the Beastie Boys, one of the really interesting things is one of my new nicknames.
What's that?
Okay, so in the Teamsters, since day one, well, not day one, but within about a year of putting on grievances at the grievance panels at UPS 20-some years ago, a union rep gave me the nickname The Rocket. And he said, you slowly build, but you're an intense person, which I guess people always tell me I'm kind of an intense person, and I might be coming across kind of calm right now, but I'm an intense person,
Seen both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can be, I can be Darth Vader, and I can be Cinderella Man, huh?
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
Not
Okay.
at all. Not at all.
But I get it. Okay.
Cinderella Man. Is that a bad thing to say Cinderella Man?
no.
Okay, okay. So
That's not where I thought you were going.
I can do it. But I would build up my case. And as I went, my hands, because I talk with my hands a lot, and my hands would start going more, and it's just like this, and then the rocket blasts. And so I had the nickname, The Rocket. That's been my nickname at the grievance panels for like over 20 years. And once in a while, the new business agents will say, well, somebody called you The Rocket. What's that? And I'm like, well, you got to be around a while to know that that's that's my grievance panel nickname, right?
That's awesome.
But it was, but now, because there's always controversy out there and everything, somebody gave me the nickname on Facebook, Mark the Beastie Boy Davison.
Oh, who did that?
Nice.
Or, well, I won't know. I won't ask.
No, but you know what? I have to tell you, when I got that nickname, and the person that did that nickname, I think they thought it's a negative thing.
Yeah.
Friggin' love it, man. The Beastie Boy, Mark the Beastie Boy Davison. I'm killing it, man.
That's pretty sweet.
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
That probably means they watched the show.
Yeah.
So whoever it is
Mark the
out
Beastie
there,
Boy Davison.
hi.
Thank you very much for that.
Now you got to get a jacket made.
You know,
Mark the BC Boy in quotations Davison.
oh, get like a old
Members
Letterman's.
only jacket.
Oh, members only. Yeah. So I actually have a members only jacket, and people like to, bust my chops
Bless
over
your
it.
chops.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
last member?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a company, another company came out with jackets that look like members only jackets, and I was wearing it. I've actually had guys, busting my chops over that jacket.
Yeah, for sure.
And I wear it with pride. I love that old members only jacket.
Oh, they're cool jackets.
They're cool jackets.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Mark, it was great catching up with you.
Yeah, it's great catching up with you too. What's the plan for the future?
The plan
Of
for
Off
the
the Clock
future
Shop Talk.
of Off the Clock Shop Talk.
Yeah, what are your guys' plans?
is-
I know you guys invest a lot of time in this program. You just keep on trucking?
Just keep on trucking. I mean, I think our main goal will never be done, just because it's to see more involvement. And it's always going to be to see more
Yeah, it's
involvement.
always going to be to see more involvement for
see
sure.
growth within the labor union. I mean, that is to inform, to excite.
Yeah.
Those are our goals. I don't think it'll ever be done. We're just going to keep chugging
Right.
along. Hopefully we can get bigger. You guys out there, please like, share, subscribe. We always say that. It helps
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Comment. It helps.
I would like to go visit some other locals at some point.
Just to
Talking
see
about-
what they're doing?
He wants to go on Sean's spot.
Well, no, I'm just talking about like, because technically I have a mobile setup. I can go visit people that can't come to us. So that'd be kind of sweet.
So those of you
Like in terms of
locals
what?
out there,
Like what do you mean?
like
Like
other locals, go visit
Yeah.
other locals. We've actually
just go
discussed
visit
this
other
a little
locals.
bit. Go visit other locals.
and set up your
Do
podcast
a
there?
yeah,
podcast.
just I have a mobile setup, so
Yeah, come to local 162 in Portland. We'd love to have you. Come down there. You could do a joint council one. We could bring in some guests from different industries. We could from local guests and talk about workers' issues going on there. Yeah, no, I think that's an awesome idea.
So other locals out there, if you guys have interest in
right?
doing a podcast, getting it's a great way to get membership involvement,
Yeah,
to
100%.
get the views, the eyes on your message that you might not get.
right.
To be honest, I mean, there's some people that just don't go to meetings,
Yeah,
just don't read
That's-
union
yeah.
boards anymore. Just
Right.
they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube.
right.
So, like I said, I mean, you guys have interest, hit us up. You'll get all the information to do that.
yeah.
A little bit here.
So what's so George, tell me like what's going on at UPS right now? I mean, how's your world like? You're in the Laguna Beach building, right?
Yes.
Okay, how are things going there?
Things are a little weird. Since SurePost is kind of just everywhere now, right? So it's
Right.
some routes like mine are not seeing the plus side of SurePost. So I'm not getting like an extra 40 or 50 stops. I'm kind of where I've always been. Some routes are seeing anywhere from like 50 to 80 stops plus on their daily route.
On top of what they already
On
have.
top of what they
Okay.
already have. And funny enough, they're already routes that are heavy. Like they go out with 200 stops a day. So we got some routes that are going out with close to 300 stops every single day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. So with the SurePost being an issue, and I know we didn't want to talk about the other issue with and all that.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to see how the operation is just working, because it seems kind of dysfunctional.
Okay.
The whole setup kind of seems dysfunctional, and management doesn't really seem to know how to cope. So everyone's kind of like running around with their heads cut off. So it's a little weird.
Yeah, and the SurePost is the final mile where the 8 Teamsters have touched the package from start to finish. To almost finish, to that just before the final mile. Then it gets dumped at the post office. This is the stuff that is super, super tiny amount of profit. But then UPS gets the regular ground, the second day air, they get what they called the tag-along volume forever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they told us forever, we're getting all this extra volume because of this low-cost product for less expensive, smaller packages, right? And then we tightened up the parameters in the contract on the SurePost, right? In this last contract, Sean tightened up the parameters, and now you have the post office in a war with UPS wanting to raise those rates to the point where...
Which has nothing to do with us.
No,
Just
totally
so
between
we're
UPS
clear
and,
out there.
Yeah, totally between UPS and the Postal Service. And we all know Teamsters have a bona fide wage, a bona fide pension, a bona fide health care, bona fide working conditions, and we have the best in the industry, whether it be FedEx or Amazon or the Postal Service or whatever. We are the leader in wages, benefits, working conditions in the package delivery industry. So UPS can't take on volume that they're not going to make any money, right? So I know there's been some folks that were concerned about the volume. Now, time will tell what happens, whether or not negotiations continue with the post office, whether or not, customers decide to do different things. It's an evolving industry.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely is.
I mean, Amazon is just absolutely corrupt. They are absolutely out. I mean, the consumers, they're consuming.
Yeah.
And people don't give a thought to the wages and benefits behind the, I don't want to say, behind the, the veil, whatever, but behind the worker.
Behind the products that they're purchasing.
Yeah, they don't see any of that. They just, hey, I want to get a roll of toilet paper, and it'll be here in 2 hours.
25% off.
Yeah, and so they don't see any of that, but we see it, and it's with Amazon. It's a race to the bottom, and I know the Amazon strike, where they have the locations that were recognized by the union, and there was the extensions. When the picket line was extended into Portland, Oregon, the hundreds of these, we had Amazon folks from inside the facility in front of the building manager that's managing 4,000 employees come out to talk to us. And when he comes out to talk to us, the trucks are pulling up within 3 feet of all of us, and they're honking and giving us the thumbs up. Not honking to get out of their way, because we were just off to the side. It was very peaceful. We were just keeping a very simple process. We were engaging, because that location isn't organized. We don't have a recognition of the union. We don't have union recognition there. So we're just there to be positive and connect with the workers and do our thing. And they came out and brought us food in front of the manager. The trucks were honking and waving to us. Workers are coming out to grab our flyers. We didn't have to go to them. They came to us.
That's awesome.
Man, that was another brilliant move by the general president, by Sean O'Brien and Fred Zuckerman, to engage in the way they are. Hundreds of connections with workers that otherwise may not have contacted us yet, but talking to us about their working conditions. You think for a company that's so high-tech, it's interesting, the complaints the workers had, safety was a big one. And I'm like, I thought all this fancy technological buildings at Amazon are going to be the best thing since sliced bread for workers, right?
Yeah.
And they're out there complaining about the same things people complained about 100 years ago. Come on. So that's a brilliant thing. And so this whole SurePost thing, I mean, I'm not sure. We'll see how that's going to shake out in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, it's still pretty recent, right? So
Right.
we just gotta cope until they figure something out, or it's just a new norm.
But you can't haul products that you can't make a profit on. And if you packages, I mean, we've seen what has happened with some companies, whether they're unionized or not, represented industries, when they don't offer a quality service and charge a proper price to make a profit, so that, because the growth, the engine of we want UPS to profit, because, as I've heard before, the more they make, the more we take. And our members have a high expectation in these contracts, and they should. They're Teamsters. Mm-hmm. So are there any other hot topics going on at the Laguna facility?
No, those are really the only issues at the moment. Yeah.
The big one. Yeah, there's always stuff going on, right? You
There's
can
always
name
stuff-
this.
yeah.
The garden variety is always going on. There's always the garden
Yeah.
variety of a supervisor working or 9-5 or various issues, right?
Yeah.
I needed to get off in 8 hours, the various things that are in our labor agreement and our rights our members have. There's always a garden variety of those things, right?
Yeah. Or
That's
those two.
the big one, yeah. A lot of volume back on the trucks. Millions of packages per day back on the UPS package cars.
Yeah.
And in a lot of areas, some areas, depending on where you're at, there has been growth in driving jobs, and others there hasn't been growth in driving jobs for a lot of different reasons, right? So,
Well, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
I definitely appreciate you coming on. You know, we didn't go over your titles, but I'll go over a couple right now. I know you don't like us to, but there's people that don't know who you are. It's Mark
Yeah.
Davison,
Yeah.
chair of the West Panel, Joint Council 37 president, president of Local 162, international VP of the West. Gosh, what else did I miss? Trustee for the Western Pension.
Yeah.
What else? Did I miss
You
any?
know, and dad. So that's a good one. I like that. You can never forget that you have family, right? If you forget you have family, you are a shallow, hollow person. In terms of the Teamsters, the proudest, my proudest title is a Teamster. Being a Teamster representative. You can cover all of my titles in one title, Teamster representative. It's a life-changing experience. It's something that, because you're younger than me,
Yeah.
you'll be able to remember this conversation, okay? As long as I do this job, I will always give 150%. And don't worry, you're not going to see me go below that, other than when you find out that I'm retiring or I'm stepping aside if I feel I can't continue. If I can't, what does Sean say? If I can't call balls and strikes, or if I can't throw a fastball, when I can't throw a fastball, I'll be retired. But I'll know it before you know it, because and who knows? Maybe I'll keep throwing fastballs when I'm 80. I don't.
Well, I hope that's
We
not
all
for a
age.
long time, Mark.
We all age.
But we appreciate you taking
you.
the time out from your busy schedule.
It's always a
under
pleasure
all
to have
those
you on.
titles.
Yeah.
Always fun having you on. Thank you.
Thank you, Teamsters Local
appreciate
952. Right? You guys are taking
that's
care of
where we're
business
from.
here
Yep.
in Orange County, California.
sir.
The place where it all started for the Davison.
I know.
Yeah.
Local boy here.
It was, of course, yeah. All the family was in Los Angeles County, and a bunch of us ended up in Orange County. And my grandfather worked in the aerospace industry up in Los Angeles near the LAX. There was a lot of factories for airplanes and during the war effort and all of that. So I have a lot of roots down here. My Aunt Kathy, she still lives down here. She lives in Escondido, California. She's
Go
retired.
visit her when you come out.
I go visit her. Yep, I always go see my Aunt Kathy, and my mom lives here in Costa Mesa, and so yeah. No, I appreciate you folks having me on the call or the podcast. Yeah.
Thanks again,
Yeah.
Mark. We appreciate you. For all the you guys out there in YouTube and Spotify world, please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Comment, please.
You can email us at ocst.000@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns. Check us out. We're also on Spotify.
Yeah, other locals out there, like we had discussed earlier, other locals, you feel like you want to have us come out and do a podcast with you, introduce you, get your message out there to your members, as long as it's one of solidarity and unity and all that stuff, we're all for it. So
Teamsters
please reach
versus
out.
everybody. Teamsters versus everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
Teamsters versus
and
everybody.
George,
everybody.
Exactly. And George, I think you're wearing a Pendleton hat.
Yeah, I love this hat. This is the hat you gave me last time you were here. I wear it all the time.
Nice. I just saw that. I know.
Yeah.
I think that's a Pendleton hat I
Yeah.
gave George.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wear it all the time. I love this hat.
Nice. Well, it fits your personality. It's glowing.
Yeah.
Blue. It's got a electric blue.
Yeah.
Electric blue.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Next week.